Kardashian got married last weekend, was it? Weekend before? Yeah, she hasn't announced the date of her divorce yet. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the accent. So I was doing this Eastern European accent, and then 3 auditions in, they switched Denise and I around, and she started auditioning for Tasha, and I started auditioning for Troi. Now, when I went in for the final 3 auditions, I had to do it 3 times. I would do it in the Eastern European accent, in my own English accent, and then in this really bad American accent, because I'd only been in the country a few months by that point, and I hadn't picked it up yet. So when I got the job, they said, okay, you've got the job, you have to do an accent. And I said, well, where do you want the accent to come from? And they said, Beta Z. Right, so I went, great. I can make up an accent. You know, who's going to tell me I'm doing it wrong? Right? Hands up all the Betazoids in the audience. Right? So I made up this accent, and of course I was so grateful to be employed at this point that I didn't really feel appropriate. It was appropriate for me to say, excuse me, why the hell should I be doing an accent? The captain, you know, it was because captain was English, you see, and so they didn't, you know, they didn't want 2 Brits on the bridge. And I didn't want to say to them, well, excuse me, why am I doing an accent? He's supposed to be French. And I don't know if you know this, but the English hate the French. Right? Actually, everyone hates the French. Right? What's the first thing that French kids learn in school? How to say I surrender in 5 languages, right? That joke doesn't go down well in Eastern Canada. Where I'm going to be next week. So, anyway, so I actually, you know, I never could figure out why, because of this. I mean, we had a 100-year war with France in England. 100 years, right? And then we go and build a tunnel joining the 2 countries together. Blew my mind. I thought, why? And then I watched Star Trek, and I realised, because of TNG, by the 24th century, there are no more French-speaking people left in France. We go through the tunnel, we infiltrate, and we've taken over. Yay! And actually, so I did this accent, and you know, she was very foreign in the beginning. Actually I was watching at CBS, they were showing me bits of Encounter at Farpoint. Okay, I have to commend you all for sticking with the show after the first few episodes. Because they were hideous, really. I mean, they were bad, weren't they? I mean, my performance, I was amazed I wasn't fired after Encounter at Farpoint. My performance was Star Trek meets Sophie's Choice. Did I stop crying at all in that episode? It was like, oh, I watched it like this, horrified. We had a big screening at the studio. I'm horrified. I'm watching it through my fingers. I'm dating this guy, pre-Michael. I'm dating, who's also a musician. He was in The Babies, the one before. And I've got a thing for musicians. I like long hair on boys. What can I tell you? Anyway, so I'm watching it like this, and there was a party afterwards. And he said, oh, come on, we're going to the party. I said, oh, no, we're not. And I didn't go to the party. I was so embarrassed with my performance, I couldn't face anybody after that. But I assumed that I was doing the Betazoid accent. But then Mom came along. Well, she obviously was from the American sector on Betazoid. Because she didn't have an accent, right? She was American accent. So, being as I said, I am one to make trouble, I did go to Rick Berman's office and knock on his door and say, excuse me, I thought I was doing the Betazoid accent, but obviously I'm not, because Major is American. And of course, by this time, we're well into the filming. They're rewriting scripts constantly. They're really busy. They're casting, they're editing, they're doing all this stuff. And the last thing they want is Marina Sirtis knocking on their door, being a pain in the butt, right? So Rick Berman, I know all he wants to say to me really is shut up and get out of my office. But he has to come up with an answer, and he goes, well, you know what? It was your father's accent. It's your father's accent. And I said, really? Because I don't believe that, because obviously my relationship with Deanna's relationship with Roxana was kind of identical to my relationship with my own mom, God rest her soul. Actually, God rest both of those souls. And I knew that they had lived in the same house. That was why there was so much friction, you know. So he was like, no, no, it's your father's accent and go away. Well, then I think it was season 6 or season 7, I don't remember, they've all kind of blended together at this point. Dark Page, where we met my dad, who was from Iowa or something. And I just had to. I know we were coming to the end of the series, but I had to go back to Rick Berman's office. I just did, you know. So I knocked on the door. Rick, you told me back in season 1 that I was doing my father's accent, but actually we've met Dad now, and he doesn't have an accent. And Rick is like ready to throttle me. He's just like, really? He's like, really? This is the conversation that we're having? And he goes, they sent you away to school, okay? Shut up, get out of my office. But you will notice when you watch, I mean, I know you watch the shows, when you watch the show, the accent got kind of more Americanized over the years. You know, by the end she was almost on Ellis Island. She was just like coming into Ellis Island to become an American person. So anyway, that was the story of the accent. And now we can have questions. And if we don't have questions, this is going to be a really short afternoon.